Hello, and welcome to my virtual presentation all about shy students. My name is Catherine, and I am thrilled to share this with you today. I chose to look at shyness for my action research project because I felt that students who exhibit shy behaviors are often pushed to the side and ignored. Educators could better help shy students if they were equipped with different tools that are proven to be effective. With research-based results, we can make things happen. Calling a child shy is detrimental to their confidence and socio-emotional well-being, and educators are unequipped to deal with students who exhibit quiet behaviors in the classroom. The students who are being targeted and labeled as shy are not being given the proper opportunity to flourish in their own time. Unpreparedness, overprotection, and lack of communication between teachers and parents have rendered educators powerless in properly helping quiet students reach goals. My action research project will focus on students' ability to be active, quiet participants in our schools and aid them in developing skills they need to be successful in life. Often overlooked and ignored, quiet students tackle self-esteem and emotional struggles that hinder their learning capabilities and social well-being. It's time that educators get on the same page when it comes to shy students. There are tools available and techniques to try when looking for in-class participation and engagement. Though the task of bringing students out of their shell might seem daunting, it is necessary that teachers approach quiet students with opportunity. These are the 3 guiding questions for my action research project. How can educators better reach and support quiet students in their classrooms by creating a space conducive to the student participation and avoid othering or even targeting quiet students? How can educators encourage quiet students to participate in class on their own terms while gently encouraging them out of their shell by using strategies to support their confidence for students at a primary level? Lastly, how can educators change their language to support reserved students? How do we encourage and show parents that language has a deep impact on our student population and that using certain words to label their children is harmful to their self-image and self-esteem? Here are some terms important to understand when thinking of a shy student. Shy, easily frightened. Timid, disposed to avoid a person or thing. Hesitant in committing oneself. Sensitively diffident or retiring, and reserved. Quiet, marked by little or no motion in activity. Calm, gentle, easygoing, not interfered with, enjoyed in peace and relaxation, free from noise or uproar, still, unobtrusive, concentrative, and secluded. Inclusion, the act of including and the state of being included. The active practice of including students with disabilities in regular school classes. Well-being, the state of being happy, healthy, or prosperous. Welfare. Sociable, inclined by nature to companionship with others of the same species, inclined to seek or enjoy companionship, marked by are conducive to friendliness or pleasant social relations. Self-esteem, a confidence and satisfaction in oneself, self-respect. Behavior, the way in which someone conducts oneself or behaves, the response of an individual, group, or species to its environment. 4 articles I looked at for my research are The Shy Child by Marian C. Hyson and Karen Van Trieste, The Shy Child, A Parent's Guide to Preventing and Overcoming Shyness from Infancy to Adulthood by Philip G. Zimbardo and Shirley Rattle, Hidden Shyness in Children, Discrepancies Between Self-Perceptions and the Perceptions of Parents and Teachers by Andrea L. Spooner, Marianne Evans, and Renata Santos. Lastly, Shyness and the Modern Middle School by Madeline Levine and Paul S. George. The article by Hyson and Trieste allows educators to put themselves in the shoes of a quiet child. Without a good understanding of how the child is feeling or have any insight on what's going through their minds, a teacher could very easily overlook a child in need of help. These educators would be better equipped to to reach and support quiet students as they have already put themselves at their level. Moreover, this article makes it clear that language is the make or break of forming a child's identity. Educators need to change their language to support and reserve students, but most importantly, parents should take responsibility in using harmful language when referring to their children. Calling a child shy is similar to calling a child fat. The child takes on the word, which could be detrimental to their self-esteem and well-being. My research problem stems from working with quiet students who were being labeled as shy by their educators in the classroom. They exhibited a variety of shy behaviors, such as avoidance of direct questions and eye contact. They would keep their heads down, seem nervous, and tick by pulling their fingers or biting their lips. How can educators better reach and support quiet students in the classroom by creating a space conducive to student participation and avoid othering shy students? Teachers I spoke to about this issue had a variety of answers, but none seemed to work effectively for every single student of the class who exhibited shy behaviors. What was the differentiated instruction for those children? How can we place every child who seems quiet in a box and label it shy? The literature I have chosen to answer my questions are various and colorful. The article by Zimbardo and Rattle is very pertinent to my research as it gives me good insight into the 4 dominant fears that children might suffer and that might lead to shyness. The first is the fear of negatively being evaluated by others. The second is fear of failure to respond in social situations. The third, fear of being rejected by someone you like or whom controls a desired resource. And last, the fear of intimacy. This insight gives educators the tools to better reach and support the quiet students and would be able to create opportunities for the child depending on the child's fears. Using this article, I plan on looking at why students are feeling self-conscious when speaking in front of others. With a better understanding of the reasoning, finding the root cause of shyness in a child, we will be better equipped to create links between students. Further, Spooner's article indicates that there are 3 dimensions of shyness: behavioral, cognitive, and affective. Now knowing that there are 3 various ways for students to exhibit their shyness, I will be better able to evaluate the level of shyness of each student individually and see their cases as individual. The participants who will provide the data for my research will be my students, all of them, not just the quiet ones, target students' parents, the parents of the children who are shy or who exhibit shy behavior in the classroom, specialists in the school, such as principals, resource teachers, special education teachers and EAs, and colleagues. More seasoned colleagues who have more experience with different students, colleagues who know and have previously identified target quiet students, and colleagues who have had experience with quiet students in their own classrooms. The data will be collected in the class setting and through observation during nutrition breaks and recess, allowing educators to observe quiet students in a structured setting during class and an unstructured setting during recess and snack time. The data I will be collecting for my action research will be qualitative and will consist of interviews, observations, anecdotal notes, meeting logs, checklists, and video and audio recordings. First, using interviews, I will be speaking directly to the student and understand what exactly it is they need to feel supported in class, and that is vital to their success in their education. Interviews are also vital to checking in with those students after a plan has already been implemented. By observing quiet students interact with their environment, educators will be better able to create spaces conducive to the student participation by changing activity layouts, for example. Consistent note-taking on social interactions, any evidence of public speaking, asking questions aloud, or answering questions being asked are vital sources of data. These notes will help build future strategies and next steps for those quiet students. Consistently holding meetings with quiet students will provide the educator with better insight onto how the student is feeling about their struggles, regressions, and progress. Not only will the educator hold meetings with the students, but they will also attempt to hold telemeetings with parents or face-to-face meetings with them to discuss their child's progress and next steps. We will be able to track their self-esteem growth this way. Using checklists, the educator will be better able to check off boxes where the student is demonstrating social, behavioral, and educational progress. From this evidence, the educator and other participants will be able to come up with the next steps for the target students. This source of data will be incredibly valuable to show the progress to parents and principals. Lastly, video and audio recordings, with parental permission of course, serve as concrete data sources, as what is happening at school might not be a problem at home or other venues. If educators are having trouble convincing the parents of a child that there needs to be some personalized intervention for that child, video and audio recordings of what's happening at school are refutable. Not only are video and audio recordings useful in the case, but serve as a visual to the child's progress. Though I have chosen to include 6 different types of data to accomplish my action research, they each reflect different assessments of behavioral, social, and educational interaction. Interviews and meeting logs ensure the educator keeps the child's socio-emotional well-being at the forefront of their project for their student. Anecdotal notes and checklists make sure that concrete qualitative data is recorded and kept on file for future reference. These 2 data sources are flexible, as the educator can keep the checklists and anecdotal notes on behavior, social interactions, and educational growths. Moreover, checklists, video, and audio recordings consistently provide results at different times and in any context to ensure reliability. When considering the believability and truthfulness, if the checklists are consistent, the results should be clear and concise. Through video and audio recordings, there will be no way to refute the video and audio recordings of a child's progress or regression. These 2 data sources will effectively reflect each finding and form future plans. I will be conducting interviews monthly, student interviews from September to July, collected at the beginning of every Wednesday morning. Parent and colleague interviews, when available, monthly preferred. I will be observing daily when the opportunity arises, September to July, to ensure reliability and validity. Anecdotal notes will be collected daily as well when the opportunity arises, September to July, to ensure reliability and validity. Meeting logs will be collected monthly, compiled every 2 months, September, October, November, December, January, February, and so on, collected whenever sit-down meetings are being held. Checklists will be filled out during target activities. The goal is to collect 4 in a month, or roughly once a week depending. I will condense the data every month and record it in an anecdotal journal. Lastly, video and audio recordings will be collected 2 times a month, first week of the month and the last week of the month, for progress or regression data collected October to July to ensure validity. To maintain the confidentiality of my participants, I will inform each of them of my action research plan before obtaining their consent. If I do not obtain their consent for participation, I will simply not be able to observe them or take notes on them. If I am able to obtain consent, but the participants are concerned about confidentiality issues, I will use a pseudonym for them as to keep their privacy intact. When using video and audio recordings of students, I will keep those files on my password-protected work computer and only share my findings with those involved with the study. I will be stealthy in recording social interactions as to not corrupt the findings, and I will be upfront about my findings with those who are involved in the process, being open about my discoveries and setbacks. If at any point the participants decide they no longer wish to be active participants in the study, their published names will be changed to pseudonyms, and will be assured that any audio or video recording of them will be transferred to a print copy, at which point I will delete the recording to maintain confidentiality. Lastly, I will attempt to write in code, where I will be able to understand observations written down, but other students who attempt to look at my notes, if for whatever reason they are open on my desk where they can see, will not be able to understand what the notes mean. I believe that by designing this action research study, I am better equipped with understanding my students. The key to running a classroom where your students are comfortable enough to try new things and explore at their own pace is knowing who they are, what they like, and what they are like. By working on this action research project, I've discovered that all students need individual support, quiet or not. Though some might need an extra push, it's important to let the child lead, and mostly, to not pace their learning on your clock. Students will surprise you in everything they do, so let's let them do it.